Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head to Malmö and take a look at one of the other new breweries that's popped up there. So for this one we're going to go to Sibbarps Husbryggeri, who are from the southern district of Limhamn, right next to the Öresundsbridge actually, and we're having a taste of their Citra India Pale Ale tonight. Citra IPA, which comes in at 5.9%, and this is a very new beer actually. I'm filming this review for you at the start of May in 2016, and the beer was only released through Systembolaget, our nationalised beer stores in Sweden, maybe about 3 months ago or something like that. So this is a very, very new beer actually. So anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. It will be very brief for this one, but if you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my future reviews that I'll do from Sibbarps. I'm sure it will be very soon. There's all the usual social media down there. Make sure you check that out, and if you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel. And as always, to those of you watching in Sweden, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. So anyway, to tell you about Sibbarps Husbryggeri. So Sibbarps Husbryggeri were founded by Rolf Nielsen, who is about 61 at the moment, and he's from Limhamn in southern Malmö, and he's a long-time beer enthusiast, and he also helped to establish Brygghuset Finn in Landskrona. That brewery of course was founded by two of my fellow Lund University alumni, but previously he'd worked in wireless communications, owning his own business, and apparently as a side project he developed his recipes for his beers in a small brewery in his garage. So at heart he kind of is a home brewer, I guess you would say, but he'd started to brew these beers on the larger scale at Brygghuset Finn after he helped them establish the brewery. I think they're about 4 years old now, Brygghuset Finn actually, but these beers, the Sibbarps Husbryggeri beers, were first released through Systembolaget in February of 2016, and they're also available in many restaurants throughout Skåne, and he has more recipes that are to be released later on, and he's working to open up his own brewery in Limhamn itself. At the moment there's only 2 beers available from these guys, the Citra IPA and the Rye IPA, but I'm sure that range will expand in the fairly near future. And as I say, on Rate Beer, the ratings that I read for this one were positive, so I'm interested to see how this beer turns out. As I say, it comes in at 5.9%. The hops on this one are Citra, Columbus, Amarillo and Challenger, and the malt base is Pale Ale, Cara Munich and Cara Pils, so it should be quite nice. I'll just bring up the artwork, or the camera, and let you have a little look at the artwork quickly. You can see, quite simply presented actually, but nice all the same. You can see there's the bird on the label there. Apparently the inspiration behind using the bird, I'm not sure if Sibbarp is actually a Swedish name for one of the birds, but he said that it was quite funny watching these birds chilling on the rocks in Limhamn next to the water. So that was why he decided to use the bird for the brewery label, if you like. So pretty cool actually that they've put a bit of nature on that. So we'll get this guy open and we'll get on with the tasting then. It should be quite a nice beer, like I say. So, as you can see, a nice smoky opening on this one. And on the first pour you can pick up the Citra hop right away. You can smell a little bit of the Amarillo too, but you can smell that juicy character of the Citra hop. The kind of lighter tropical fruit notes coming from the Citra right away on the pour with this one. It smells really nice actually. So, as you can see, this beer has poured a nice bright orangey amber colour. That's a really nice looking IPA. There's a half finger of a frothy, kind of creamy coloured head on this one. It's not perfectly white. Creamy coloured head on this one, some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass. No sediment visible from what I can see, but quite a few little bubbles going up towards the bottom of the head too. If I put my fingers behind the beer, you can see there is a degree of transparency to it, but it is quite opaque in colour. So yeah, very nice. I think it's fair to say that's a bright orange amber colour, that one, maybe a blood orange colour actually, is a good way to describe this one. So let's have a look at the aroma and then we'll get on to the tasting. Oh yeah, that smells nice. You can smell the Amarillo coming out of this one, and you can smell the Citra on top of that. Definite Citra hop aroma in here, but you can smell the nice juicy orange base from the Amarillo underneath that. The Citra's coming out a little bit sharper, I'd say, and then the Amarillo just underneath that nice juicy citrusy orange. So you can smell a little bit of the kind of light cheese or the peat cheese and stuff coming out of this one, I'd say, and that's without sugaring it up, of course. Without sugaring it up, it is very fruity and juicy, and you can smell the Citra and Amarillo coming out of this one right away. If we sugar it up though, yeah, you start to get a little bit more of the Columbus and the Challenger coming out in this one. you start to smell a little bit more of the spicy, kind of aromatic character that you would expect of the Columbus in this one. The Columbus is a really nice bittering hop actually, and the Challenger, you can smell, I think the Challenger's an English hop if I remember correctly, and I always remember it giving you quite a floral but a little bit of an earthy character as well. I always remember that from the Challenger hop. And it's got, you can smell both of them there in this when you sugar this beer up. The Challenger gives you a little bit of earthiness and maybe a little bit more of a herbal kind of aromatic spice, but the Columbus is a straight up kind of floral, aromatic and sometimes resinous character that you get. But when you let it settle, as I say, you get some of the fruitier characteristics, the Amarillo orange and some of these tropical fruit characters, the peaches, not mangoes in this one I would say, kind of light cheese and maybe even a little bit of a, it's not quite a perry ester, but something light and appley, kind of like that. You get a little bit of that in this beer, and there's some grassy character coming out as well. Underneath, you can smell some of the caramel sweetness in this one, a little bit bready as well. So it has kind of everything you would expect from the ingredients that are in it. So just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma before you actually try this beer. As I always say, it's always good to have a little smell of them and train your palate, because sometimes it can give you an idea of exactly what the flavours are in this beer, and it's good to research the hops and things that they put in these too. So without further ado then, let's get stuck into this beer. So this is the Citra India Pale Ale, Citra IPA from Sibbarps Husbryggeri in Limhamn in Malmö. Skål! That's nice. It's nice and drinkable actually. I think I've got it just at the right temperature. It must be about 5 or 6, 7 degrees, something like that at the moment. Because it's coming across perfectly. That's really nice. It's almost just like it's been under the bar and come up. It's just got the right mouthfeel at the moment. Yeah, that's a nice, kind of quite easy drinking IPA actually. It's not too punchy, it's more like it's well blended and it has everything you would expect. The middle of your palate, right away you get this kind of bready character that just goes right across the middle of the palate. That's the paleo malt coming out, and there's some thicker kind of breadier character on top of that. That's the Caram Munich, and you can pick up a little bit of biscuity sweetness there and some kind of richer caramel in the middle of the palate too. The caramel kind of sticks right in the middle of your palate, and the breadiness is just kind of underpinning that flavour. It's really nice. That's a good beer, there's no question about that. This is a really nice, it's a really nice session IPA actually. I say session IPAs, but honestly, I don't drink so much outside of the beer reviews that I do for you guys. But this would be a really nice kind of session IPA beer. I'm sure many of you will find that with this one. Yeah, that's a nice beer. The Amarillo presence in this one, for me, it's not quite as prominent as I was expecting from the aroma. It is definitely there, you can pick that up a little bit, but for me it's the Citra that's coming out a little bit more in this one. So yeah, around the back corners of the palate, there's just a little hint of earthiness, but that's very, very smooth. It's not dark or anything like that, and that's, as I say, that's probably the Challenger hop that's giving you that. As you come further forward, there's a nice, but also quite smooth floral aromatic character to this beer. It's not too punchy and not too dry. It's got a nice little bit of dryness to it, and it works really well with the fruity characters of the beer. As you go around the front curve of the tongue, that kind of smoothens out a little bit and becomes a little bit less dry. There's maybe even, probably if you cooled this beer down just a little bit more, you would get some resinous character out of it as well. I can see that as you cool the beer down, you'll probably get more of these kind of hoppy bitter characters coming out of it. So maybe if you drink it straight out of the fridge. But yeah, this is good. I'm impressed with this one. It's a nice sessionable IPA, and as I say, at this temperature, it's got just the right mouthfeel as well. So just behind the front curve of the tongue, you get the little oily bubble where the fruity character comes out. You can definitely pick up some of the orange characters that you would get, the orangey citrus from the Amarillo hop, and on top of that you start to pick up, or maybe near at the front of the tongue, the orangey character is a little bit further back. but you can pick up the Citra aspects of the beer. So there's a little bit of a kind of lychee flavour, I think, to this one. You know, there's a little bit of a, not quite an appley ester, but some of these lighter, not quite limey, but just some of these lighter fruity esters coming out of this beer. Maybe a little bit of passion fruit as well. From Citra you often get passion fruit flavour. But for me, the one that's really coming out actually is lychee. There's not that kind of dusty flavour that you normally get from the peach. I'd say lychee and a little bit of passion fruit in this one too. It's interesting, and the flavours in this one, the thing that's good about this beer is that all the flavours blend together really well. There's nothing out of place about it. It's not punchy and it's not in your face in that regard. It's a well blended IPA and it's nice and sessionable. So good summer beer, this one actually. If you want something that's a bit heavier for the summer, but it's got a good bit of flavour to it, this one's good. Well, yeah, definitely a nice beer. I wouldn't hesitate to drink that again. But yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel, I'd say this one is mid-bodied. It might be a bit lighter when it's straight out the fridge, of course. But for me, it's mid-bodied. It's got a good bit of oily character to it, and I have to admit, I like that in an IPA. Carbonation is, you know, fairly moderate. You know, it's not too punchy, it's not too sharp or anything like that. They've got it just right for this one. The malt base has got a good bit of sweetness to it. There's a little bit of dry and bitter character from the hops, and the fruits are nice and juicy. So that's all the three elements you're getting from this beer. And as I say, the flavours for me blend together quite nicely on this one. This is a good session IPA. The other beer that they have is the rye IPA, which is supposed to be a bit more spicy and things. So it'd be interesting to try that one and see how it turns out too. But this is another really nice IPA, so maybe I'll try it on tap sometime when I'm down in Malmö. We'll see about that. But yeah, if you enjoy your IPAs and you like them nice and well balanced and a little bit fruity and juicy, some nice caramel malt as well, then I can see you guys enjoying this one. For me, it comes across as quite a nice sessionable summer beer. At 5.9% as well, it's a fairly lightish IPA too, so it's good in that regard. But overall, it gets a thumbs up from me. Really nice beer, and I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink it again. So yeah, make sure you go and try the Citra India Pale Ale or Citra IPA from Sibbarps Husbryggeri in Limhamn, one of the new breweries that are popping up in Malmö. Of course, we've got quite a few good breweries here in Skåne at the moment, so check them out. I mean, Remelöv, Bryggeriet, Brewski, all of these sort of things, and there's new guys like these, like Sibbarps, popping up all the time. So keep an eye on the Skåne beer scene. But let me know your own thoughts on this beer if you happen to have tried it yourself. Let me know in the comment section below. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff, but most importantly, go and try some of the Sibbarps Husbryggeri beers. Hopefully there's some more of them come out soon and I can review more of those for you, and I'll see if I can get a hold of the Rye India Pale Ale in the meantime. Slander just now, and I will catch you soon. Go and try this one from Sibbarps Husbryggeri in Malmö. Always good to try new beers from here in Sweden. Skål!